The alarms screamed across every station in the system. Red lights flashed in the grand halls of the Galactic Council headquarters. Every sensor, every scanner, every warning system activated at once. Something had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of their territory. Something that should not exist. Counselor of the stood frozen at his command post. His four eyes blinked rapidly as he stared at the holographic display. The data made no sense. The readings were impossible. A single ship had appeared from nowhere. It had bypassed every detection grid. It had slipped through barriers that had protected this system for 3,000 years. The ship was massive. It stretched nearly 2 kilometers long. Its hull was black as the void between stars. No decorations, no markings, just cold, angular metal that seemed to swallow light itself. The design was brutal and simple. It looked like a weapon given form. "What species does this vessel belong to?" demanded. His voice cracked with fear he could not hide. The technician beside him trembled. Her thin fingers moved across the console. "Counselor, the database has identified the design. It matches records from the Forbidden Archive." Felt his blood turn cold. "Which records?" "Human, sir. The ship is human." The word spread through the council chamber like poison. Representatives from 12 different species sat in the circular hall. All of them heard that single word. All of them understood what it meant. Humans. Every child in the galaxy knew the stories. Every species had passed down the warnings through generations. The humans were the monsters that lived at the edge of known space. They came from a small blue world that orbited an ordinary yellow star. They should have been nothing. They should have been weak. But they were not weak. Counselor of the Dominion rose from her seat. Her silver scales caught the light as she moved. "This cannot be correct," she said. "The humans have not left their territory in over 200 years. They agreed to the isolation treaty. They promised to stay within their borders." "Perhaps they grew tired of promises," said Warden of the Empire. His massive form filled his seat. His voice rumbled like thunder. "Perhaps they finally decided to take what they want." Fear filled the chamber. Every representative looked at the holographic image of that terrible ship. It hung in space like a predator watching its prey. It had not moved since it arrived. It had not sent any communication. It simply waited. High Chancellor stepped forward. He was the oldest member of the council. His species had guided galactic politics for. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had witnessed wars that burned entire star systems, but even he felt afraid now. "We must remain calm," said. "We do not know why this ship has come. We should not assume the worst." "Not assume the worst," Counselor shouted. "Do you not remember what the humans did during the First Contact War? Do you not remember what they did to the—" Silence fell over the chamber. Everyone remembered. There had been a proud warrior race. They had ruled over 50 systems. They had believed themselves invincible. When they discovered the humans, they saw only a young species on a primitive world. They decided to conquer them. They sent their greatest fleet. 300 warships descended on Earth. They expected an easy victory. They expected the humans to surrender or die. Instead, the humans fought back. No one knew exactly what happened during those terrible months. They had jammed all communications from the system. But when the jamming finally stopped, there were no more messages. There were no more ships. There were no more at all. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had followed the back to there. They had destroyed every ship, every station, every colony. An entire species, wiped from existence in less than 1 standard year. That was when the galaxy learned to fear humanity. "They attacked first," reminded them. "They brought their fate upon themselves. We have not provoked the humans. We have respected their borders." "Then why is there warship in our system?" Counselor demanded. A new alert flashed across the displays. Every representative turned to look. The human ship had begun to move. It was heading directly toward the council station. Panic erupted in the chamber. Representatives shouted orders into their communication devices. Some called for their personal ships to be prepared. Others demanded that the defense fleet engage the intruder. But everyone knew the truth. Their defense fleet would not stand a chance. Human weapons technology was centuries ahead of anything the Council possessed. During the isolation period, scouts had occasionally observed human space from a distance. What they reported was terrifying. Human ships moved faster than should be possible. Human weapons could punch through shields that would stop any known projectile. Human soldiers wore armor that made them nearly invincible. And worst of all, the humans never stopped improving. While the other species of the galaxy had grown comfortable and stagnant, the humans continued to advance. They built better ships. They created deadlier weapons. They pushed the boundaries of what was possible. The Council had hoped the isolation treaty would contain them. They had hoped that if they left the humans alone, the humans would leave them alone. For 200 years, that hope had held true. Now that hope was dying. The human warship stopped moving when it reached the outer defense perimeter. It hung in space, silent and patient. Then, finally, a communication signal came through. "Attention, Galactic Council," a voice said. The translation software rendered it into the common tongue. The voice was calm and controlled. "This is Captain Sarah of the Earth Defense Force vessel Unconquered. We are here on a diplomatic mission. We request permission to send a shuttle to your station." Diplomatic mission. The word seemed impossible. Humans did not send diplomatic missions. Humans had rejected every attempt at communication for centuries. They had made it clear they wanted nothing to do with the rest of the galaxy. High Chancellor took a deep breath. He knew this moment would define the future. If he made the wrong choice, it could mean war, a war the Council could not win. "Captain," he replied, "you are welcome to send a shuttle, but understand that any hostile action will be met with the full force of our combined fleets." It was an empty threat. Everyone in the chamber knew it, but had to maintain some dignity. "Understood, Chancellor," Captain replied. There was a hint of amusement in her voice. "Our shuttle will arrive in 15 minutes. Please have a delegation ready to receive us." The channel closed. The council chamber erupted into chaos once more. 15 minutes later, a small shuttle docked with the station. The council had assembled their most important leaders to meet the human delegation. Armed guards stood at every corner, though no one believed they would make any difference. The shuttle doors opened. 4 figures stepped out. The humans were smaller than most council species had expected. They stood just under 2 meters tall. They wore simple uniforms of dark blue fabric. No armor, no visible weapons. They looked almost ordinary. But their eyes told a different story. Those eyes held a depth of experience that made the council leaders uncomfortable. These were the eyes of predators. These were the eyes of survivors. Captain Sarah stepped forward. She was a woman of middle age with short black hair and a scar across her left cheek. She moved with the confidence of someone who had faced death many times and won. "High Chancellor," she said, "thank you for receiving us." Inclined his head. "Captain, your arrival was unexpected. The galaxy has not heard from your people in 2 centuries. "We have been busy," replied simply, "but we have been watching. We know everything that happens in this galaxy. We know about the expansion. We know about the plague on Prime. We know about the secret weapon research your council has been conducting." Fear rippled through the gathered leaders. The humans knew about the weapon research. That project was supposed to be the council's secret advantage. They had been developing it for 50 years, hoping to one day have something that could challenge human technology. "How do you know about that?" Counselor demanded. Smiled slightly. "We have our ways, but we did not come here to threaten you. We came to offer you a choice." "What choice?" asked. Reached into her uniform and pulled out a small data crystal. She placed it on the table before her. 3 months ago, our deep space sensors detected something at the edge of the galaxy, something coming from the void between galaxies, something that is not from our universe. The council leaders exchanged confused looks. We have analyzed the signals, continued. Whatever is coming, it is massive, it is ancient, and it is hungry. Our projections suggest it will reach the outer systems in approximately 18 years. What are you saying? Asked. I am saying that the petty conflicts of this galaxy no longer matter. The isolation, the fear, the old grudges, none of it matters anymore. Something is coming that will destroy everything, every species, every world, every civilization. Tap the data crystal. This contains all of our research, all of our analysis. We are sharing it with you because we cannot face this threat alone. No species can. Stared at the human captain. For the first time, he saw something beyond the fearsome reputation. He saw a species that was afraid, not of the council, not of any power in this galaxy. They were afraid of something far worse. Why should we trust you? Asked. Your species destroyed you isolated yourselves for 200 years. Why would you help us now? Met his gaze directly. Because they attacked us first and we do not start wars we can avoid. We isolated ourselves because we knew the galaxy feared us and we did not want to rule through terror. We are not monsters, Chancellor. We are survivors. And right now, surviving means working together. She gestured toward the data crystal. Study our research. Verify our findings. You will see that we are telling the truth. When you are ready to discuss an alliance, you know how to reach us. The human delegation turned and walked back to their shuttle. They moved with quiet purpose, showing no fear or hesitation. As the shuttle doors began to close, looked back one final time. Do not take too long, Chancellor. The darkness is coming, and it will not wait for anyone. The shuttle departed. The human warship turned and vanished into hyperspace as suddenly as it had appeared. The council chamber remained silent for a long time. Finally, reached out and picked up the data crystal. He held it in his hands, feeling its weight. For 200 years, they had feared the humans. They had built their entire defense strategy around containing a threat that never came. Now they understood the truth. The humans had never been the real threat. They had been preparing. They had been waiting. They had been getting ready for something far worse. And now the galaxy had a choice: stand together with the monsters they feared, or face the true darkness alone. Looked at the assembled council leaders. Call an emergency session, he said quietly. Notify every member species. Everything is about to change. Outside in the cold void of space, the stars continued to shine. But somewhere beyond the edge of vision, in the impossible distance between galaxies, something ancient was waking. And it was coming,